not freeze frame.
Dun, 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 dun. It's so good to see you.
You too.
Hello. How are you?
I'm great.
Married woman wears the bling. I haven't even seen it.
I know.
Oh my God, like
other.
Yeah. Do you know what that is? That's it's beautiful.
This is the one. Yeah.
Beautiful. By the way, I saw the husband. I haven't met him properly. I saw him yesterday. He is hench.
What does that mean?
Hench is like as in fit, like, and he's like huge.
Sorry.
Like I didn't know what type of guy you were into, and when I looked at him, I was like, oh, so she likes athletes. Like he's tall, he's muscular. Yeah. I didn't check him out, but he was the biggest person.
He's very tall. Yeah.
But yeah,
so
hench is like when guys are like fit, like like you know they lift and things like that. It's like he's hench.
That's awesome.
Is he like is he bringing out the best in you?
I think he is. Yeah.
Because like Coffee, you sound so love-struck, like literally like, oh, she's so much. I'm like, that guy must love this song. He must play it to himself every day.
No, he doesn't. That was weird.
But is it nice being married? Like, does it suit you?
It's awesome. Yeah. It's crazy, but it's awesome. I mean, we're learning a lot, and we still got a long way to go, but it's really fun just getting to do life with somebody. Yeah,
new music coming.
New music.
You're a married woman.
It's weird. I'm like an adult. Not really though.
You're back in London.
I'm never gonna be an adult. I'm back in London.
Yeah. How does this feel?
I missed it a lot. I really did. It's been like, gosh, how long has it been? I mean, I actually wrote a lot here, so I've been here quite a bit. But as far as just like doing shows and kind of the promo side of things, it's been a while. So I feel like
you performed.
I'm due.
I know, and I'm so glad because whenever you come, you always try and do at least one show.
Yeah.
And you performed Islington Assembly Room.
I know.
It was completely packed. I got to see the fans before you came. Do you know they queued up? Some of them from 8:30 in the morning.
Are you serious?
8:30 in the morning.
Oh my goodness!
And these are girls that are like over 18. That's dedication.
Insane. No, I got there for sound check around pretty early. It was like 4 or something, and I even thought it was cool there was people then, but I didn't know it was 8:30.
8:30. I said, how does it work, guys? Who does the food run and how does the toilet situation work? They're like, you can't afford to move from the spot because you won't get to the front to see Tori. So food run, you have snacks in the back.
But how do they? I don't want to know.
The toilet thing worried me a little bit. And they did say just for you they sweated out their makeup too, and I was like, guys, like that's dedication.
That's so crazy.
I know, but listen, the show was
much fun.
It felt so emotional because you went on this whole journey of telling your story, which I thought was amazing.
It was emotional for me.
I know. What made you do that? Because I thought it was so such a nice way of doing it.
So it really this show. And just having it stripped down and, just acoustic. I had me and my guitar player, Mateus.
He's sick, by the way. Great hair.
Yeah. Great hair. And it just felt like after, everything that I've gone through and just all the different albums that I've put out, it felt like I should take advantage of this type of show. And even in the U.S., I did like a tour with this set pretty much. And it just felt like the right time to kind of throw it back and do some of the classics and kind of see like who would remember them and kind of also just let people know they haven't forgotten where I came from and how it all started, and that I'm just ultimately grateful. It feels good. It's a good reminder for me too, just to like remember where you started, like be humble about it, and it was an emotional part of the show for me too, trust me. Like seeing them sing the lyrics and stuff is wild.
I do find it like really shocking, but in such a refreshing way that you genuinely seem overwhelmed still, like when they sing along, and I'm like, does this girl not get it? They love her, they've been supporting her for ages, no, but you still like, you know.
Yeah, and you know why though? Because every show I do, it's so different. I think because even though there's a set list, it's like I feel like every crowd is so different, and because these are like real people, so every show I'm gonna, I think, give something a little different. So that's why I'll get emotional at like different points of the set, and but this show was extra special because, like I said, I hadn't been here in a while. I think that added to the emotions.
And then you get a reaction like that just as your album's around the corner.
Yeah, that also added to it.
Yeah, like does it just like reconfirm to you that this is what I'm supposed to be doing? Because look, I've been away, I'm on the other side of the world, and they are still riding for me.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, it just makes me grateful that I'm even able to do this. I'm able to still put out music and still do shows, and there's people that are listening, and like that's a really good feeling. So hopefully they'll I'll be able to keep doing it for a while.
New album, Inspired by True Events.
Yes.
What a title.
Yeah.
What a title. I had no idea what that title would mean till I listened.
Yeah.
And you really have to listen. Wow. I just, first of all, well done you for being so vulnerable and sharing so much of you as a human being, because we all like to keep certain things to ourselves.
Oh yeah.
And this is you sharing everything, I feel almost everything.
Yeah.
How did you get to that place?
Man, it took me a while. It really did. So after sort of the last album cycle, even before I put out the gospel album, I sort of went straight into writing just for the next album. And there was a lot of things going on in my personal life, but I was sort of just pushing them to the side. I wasn't really connecting that with my music. So I'd be writing over here and then kind of going through a lot, and there was just no connection until about a year into that process. And this was after, now I had done the gospel album and everything that kind of fell out of nowhere, it felt which was incredible. But then around that time I started working with Jimmy Napes, who's
we like him. Shout to Jimmy,
of course. Yeah. It's funny, there's a lot of UK influence, I feel in this album.
Yeah, we like that.
Yeah, especially from Jimmy, working with him, it was just incredible because he opened up this whole new thing for me where I just started sharing stuff with him and opening up. And at that point it was pretty built up inside of me too, so it was perfect timing to work with someone like him who's already just so good at, I think, just kind of caring for those emotions and being really gentle and not being afraid though to go into those deeper places. So it was kind of a form of therapy for me.
I'm actually shocked Jimmy has brought this out in you.
Really?
Because he's I've only checked him a couple of times, obviously he's done Sam, Quabs, Disclosure, but he's a really sweet character though. Yeah. And it's just really interesting to think that this man has managed to pull out all this really personal, vulnerable stuff that nobody else has managed to get out of you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a lot of things that just came together at once. And I remember there was one week I came out here and we wrote Change Your Mind, Sorry Would Go a Long Way, and Before the Dawn in 1 week.
Wow.
And this is out of probably hundreds of songs at that point that I had. I was trying to organize them, and then I got to him, and it was oh, okay, this is going to be the sound of the album. So it was wonderful working with him. And even though at times it was kind of scary and just felt like I was going too personal, it was ultimately freeing. And Jimmy was also really good at just he helped me see that was actually a good thing. To be uncomfortable a little bit is actually a good place to be sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like the way you sequenced it felt like a journal. I honestly felt like I was reading someone's diary.
Wow, yeah.
And the way you've put the order together, it really, I don't know if you did, or maybe it felt like it was really thought through.
Yeah, I'm really into the track listing. That kind of took me a while just to, there was even up to the last minute, it was oh, actually I want this to go here. Okay. And
why did you want it so why was that so very important to you in the way you put it together? I know the interlude, I want to talk to you about the interlude, but it feels like this is more than just an album. It's almost like you telling the world, hello guys, this is me, who I am.
Yeah. And this album too, it's definitely hey, this is who I am, but it also represents, I think, a chapter of my life that I felt like I needed to talk about in order to sort of get to the next stuff, and whatever that may be, whatever sound that may be. But this just felt like it was so necessary for me to talk about this stuff, and even down to the sound of it. It needed to be just simple, but also it's very cinematic at times too, with a lot of strings. And so I wanted it to feel like a movie.
You can feel it. People always say sometimes when people put heart and put stuff in it, you just get it. I feel like you put tears, love, sadness, happiness. You put so much into this, and I feel but at the same time, it's super brave because everybody has got used to you being this incredibly talented singer-songwriter who they kind of think they know. I know what she does. I know what she's about. And I think when you did the gospel album, for those that were real fans, they knew where that came from. But for other people, it was like, oh, what's Tori up to?
Yeah.
And now putting out this project, I think is even better, because it just reminds people that actually you don't know. I'm growing, I'm changing, and there's so much more to me than any of you realise.
Yeah, and I think it was time for me to start opening up about that stuff too, because I think the first album, even though I had songs out before that, when I put out Unbreakable Smile, I wasn't really thinking about like telling my story, other than, I mean, there was a part of my story where it was like how I started, and you know, trying to navigate it through the industry. Like there's songs about that on that album, but it was really just an introduction album, and like here's me singing these songs, and I definitely put my heart into it. But I think this album is like the most vulnerable that I've ever been, and I hope people can connect to it in some way.
Interludes. I love an interlude. An R&B 90s album used to always have an interlude.
I know.
And people stopped doing interludes, and I was like, thank God you lot are all bringing it back, because I keep seeing interludes now. Yours was so very special. How the hell did you dig out video, audio from when you were a little baby? Did your, like, shouts to your mum Laura, by the way, we miss you. Does she just have like a little shoebox of like, she keeps everything?
So I randomly was going to visit home, and on the way there, and this was like, album needed to be sent in like ASAP, like it was crunch time, and I was on my way to visit, and I was just thinking like, I need, and I had been messing around with interlude ideas, and at first it was just going to be like maybe some cool, like some strings, like Jimmy had all these like string sessions that we were kind of messing with, so I was like, okay, that'll work. But then on my way there, I'm like, what if I grabbed these home videos and just like, let me just see what's there, right? So I went home, I grabbed videos, because I knew we had them, I knew my mom had kept them, and then I took them back home, and I spent 2 nights just like, I barely got sleep at that point,
God.
and my eyes were just like bloodshot from like crying, and I just came across like these clips that went so perfectly with some of these songs that I already had. So the one that really stands out is the one I found that I knew I wanted a clip of my grandfather, because I have a song specifically about him, and he's passed, and so it's just a song about just missing him, and so I was like, it'd be great to just find something with him in it. And one of the first tapes I put in, it's him doing my baby dedication, and he's like praying for me and like holding me, and I was like, oh my gosh, and I'm just like alone, just bawling. And so moments like that, it just felt like the perfect sort of cherry on top for the album, and just kind of wrapping it all up and making it feel cohesive. I've always wanted an album like that that just felt like there's a flow to it, and then it's just really personal. So
you just, I think it something like, "You're blessed, girl," or something. It's so beautiful. I was just like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, he's like, "You're gonna be fine."
Yeah,
like,
you're blessed already.
Like,
I was just like, but when you listen
so
to
weird.
those like interludes, you realise how blessed you are. Like, you were so loved. Like, your family, like they had you, and like but it was really cute. There's one little interlude that I wanted to talk about, and it seemed so out of character for me, for the girl that I know, but it just shows you I don't know you fully anyway. But it was
the 4-year-old version of me. Yeah,
the 4-year-old version of you was like, "Mom, can I sing in this swimsuit?"
Yeah.
Like some Victoria's Secret angel, and it was just the cutest conversation. Do you remember having that conversation?
I just remember, I don't remember that conversation in particular, but I know I was always singing around the house, and I was always like performing for my parents. And I think even then, you'll hear in the clip, like I was really shy even then. I mean, I consider myself as like a shy person, but even then, there's a part in the clip where I'm like, "It's okay, Mom, I'm not embarrassed anymore. I'm gonna practice and pretend that there's an audience." Like at 4, like I was already trying to talk myself into like being a performer, which I thought was so funny. But
it was so cute though. It was so cute, and it was just, your mum was just humouring the whole conversation.
Yeah, she's like, "Sure, whatever you want."
Yeah, and when you said you're not nervous anymore, I just thought that was so beautiful. I was just like, and then it goes straight into the song. And that song, can you talk to me a little bit about that track? Because I think it's one of it's one of the standout tracks for me on the album, and I think it's going to touch a lot of people.
Thanks. Yeah. So Kid I Used to Know, that clip I thought was just really perfect for that song, because that song's really just about trying to find that inner child again. You know, I think we all like spend so much time trying to grow up and become an adult, and then when you become an adult, you're like, oh wait, I need to remember like you know, that innocence, and we're trying to find this sort of youthfulness again. So it's kind of ironic how that happens, but yeah, that song, I really felt like in this season I was just missing the simplicity of being a kid, and how kids just have no cares, they have no worries, they don't care what people think, they, you know, they're just having a great time, and they're not affected yet, you know. So it's just trying to channel that inner child.
When you performed it, the guitar, like, oh my god, those moments. Yeah. I didn't realise how special it was till I saw it live.
Oh, really?
Like the guitar moments of when you were having little solo bits, it sounds it's so weird that you can just do music with just a guitar, and you can still make such an impact without everything else around it, all the other noise.
Thank you.
It's kind of cool to be able to do that.
It's really fun to do that, and I never thought that that would be kind of a thing for me, but it sort of just happened. I really just picked up guitar because I was sick of relying on people to like play for me.
I get that.
And I didn't.
Better wear them.
I didn't.
Do it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And I hated singing to a track, so I just sort of I learned a couple chords from a family friend, and then from there I was like, oh, these are actually, like, most pop songs are, you know, fairly easy at first, and then started just playing from there. But it's really cool, especially with an album like this where it's already so, you know, raw and just mostly about the lyrics and the story. So it's cool to be able to just strip everything away and just be like, here's my soul, you know, just like, here you go.
Enjoy.
Yeah, no distractions, just that. So it's great.
Your music has always had different influences. I've always heard soul in your voice. I've always heard R&B, pop, rock. You kind of merge a lot of different genres, and you're kind of like, your background is like a bit of a melting pot. Like, I love it. Like, you're Jamaican, you're Puerto Rican, your mum is like, she's German, and
German, Irish.
Yeah, like you've got literally. She should have a passport in every country so she can go through the other line. You know, the residence line. Yeah, you need to get that, because like you literally bump everyone else and walk through. Yeah. But how important have all those different sides of your, like, you as a person, your diversity, how important has it been to you musically and growing up? Like your grandfather, for example, hearing him on that interlude, he's the Jamaican grandfather, and Jamaican granddads, they say it how it is.
Oh yeah.
You know, so
yeah, I mean, man, he, just thinking of it, we called him Dada actually, and he it's so crazy thinking back and just realizing, because as a kid I didn't really, I mean, I knew that I was mixed, and I had all these different cultures and stuff, but it was just my life, so I didn't really think anything of it, because it just was always there. And so now thinking back, it's kind of cool to realize, like, oh yeah, I had, you know, this style, probably like a jazz influence probably came from my grandfather, because he was obsessed with jazz, or, you know, my dad would even though play like rock stuff, and like, I mean, both my parents just loved all different styles of music. So I think they each brought kind of their own styles, and then so me as a kid growing up in a house like that, it just was like no genre was off limits. So I mean, maybe that did have something to do with kind of like all the different ethnicities and stuff, but
and your audience is really so diverse, you know, Tori. Like literally in London, there's black kids, there's brown kids, there's white kids, and it's so nice to see so much mix and everybody just enjoying it.
That's amazing. I love that, the fact that like the music can, just be like, you know.
I feel like Chronix and Bonjo, you know, these Jamaican artists, that's so fire. I would love to hear you. Do you know about Chronix?
No,
okay, Chronix is so sick. Like you would love him. It's like such good reggae music. Yeah. These guys are the young new breed of Jamaican artists that are killing it, but it's so soulful and like rootsy. And I can imagine you not doing something that would be good. Yes, I would like that. One thing I've always felt about you, I kind of sent a little bit of an open letter to Tori, because she was on my mind, and I sent her in a DM. I know, sorry if I freaked you out.
No, you didn't. It was so sweet.
No, because I had a bit of a moment, because I just remember when I first discovered you, and I just remember everybody's saying, oh, but she's like doing just like singer-songwriter, and she's playing guitar, and she's not sexy enough, and she's not doing music that's necessarily contemporary enough or fits into the sound right now. And I think it was recently that I sat down, because it was funny, I supported Tori on urban radio and pop radio. I took her wherever I went, which is what I did. And shout out to your mum, because you lot would turn up with a guitar and we would just do it our own way. Yeah. But what I realised recently was you're actually a bit of a trailblazer, and I don't know if you even realise it, because you actually represent something very different in music and the culture, because you're a female artist that is doing something that is not the same as everybody else. And maybe now it feels as though there's more people that have, perhaps on the back of people like you, feel like they can come out and keep their clothes on and sing and play instruments and not feel pigeonholed. But it's not been easy, because you've made this decision to be authentically you and make this musical sound that sometimes people think is for an older audience. By the way, her show was full of like young people, just so everybody knows. And it's in some way made your journey, it's going to take longer, but I think it's flipping important for the culture.
It's really awesome to hear you say that, because I think before anything really happened with my career, I just remember being in my bedroom, and I would just be sitting there with my guitar and kind of I just remember thinking, like, you know, if I don't want to compromise at all, this really might take longer. Like, I might, you know, who knows what's going to happen, but all I know is that I have this guitar with me. I know that I can sing, I can write songs, and, you know, if I'm going to play coffee shops for a while, then, like, awesome. If it grows, then awesome. So I just sort of, I remember having that mentality and kind of like being okay with that. And then as things started kind of rolling, and I would, you know, post videos on YouTube and start doing like bigger shows and stuff, I just thought it was so crazy that that very thing that I thought wasn't going to do well, it was what people were connecting with. And so even now, like, I just try not to think about I mean, it's hard sometimes, of course, because, you know, the numbers and like the success of it all, it's the awards and stuff, it's all like amazing and it's so awesome, but I try to just really focus on the music and like what do I want to say, you know, who do I want to be as an artist, and not trying to like rush to the top or like rush to, you know, a certain spot or like a level, and that, so it's really cool to hear you say that, because I have thought about it, and yeah, I'm okay with whatever, you know, I let God kind of lead the way on that one, and just.
And that's the other thing as well, that God, you being so open about your faith. I think it's really good, because now when Justin Bieber, Hailey Baldwin, various people come out and talk about it, I feel like Tori was always somebody that never kind of felt embarrassed by that, and it's so nice now that other younger people in the public eye are feeling like they can speak out too. But these are the things that sometimes we all hide who we are, because we feel like the world's not going to accept us for who we are. And I think one thing I learned talking to a lot of your fans yesterday was, however different they are, some of them aren't religious, they were like, that's what we've taken from her, because she does her own thing and she represents herself.
That's cool.
They ride or die for you, they adore you. I know they mean everything to you, but is there anything you want to say to them, because the UK fans literally adore you?
I love them back. I just adore you guys, and I would not be here without y'all. So yeah, just thank you, and thank you for being patient too, because I know it's been kind of a while with just the new music, and also just for doing more shows out here too. We're working on some stuff, so
good.
Yeah, I just love you guys. There's definitely like a thing out here in the UK, which I can't get enough of. So
good. Well, always a pleasure. Thank you for taking time out. It's a pleasure to see you.
You too.
And good luck with the album. I know it's going to do brilliant for you. And please give your mum a big hug from me.
I will.